So hello people, thanks for joining in. Thanks for making time to be here for this webinar. Right. So this webinar in particular will be about the key features which have been built into Ahead and PageBuilder in like the recent times. Right. So for the people who don't know what these products are, this is the Ahead and PageBuilder, Ahead being the front-end framework per se for our headless CMS. Right. And PageBuilder is our layouting engine, which basically depicts and decides how your site is controlled and how it looks and feels. Right? So having said that, a little about ourselves. So myself, Jeevan. So I've been in the industry for about 7 years. I'm a lead engineer with Quintype for about 4 years now. And we have Aswin with me. Aswin, you have the podium.
Hey, good afternoon all. Myself, Aswin Ambadi. I'm working as a product manager for Quintype. I've been also in this industry for around 8 years. So I started off with as a developer, now working as a product manager. So let me quickly set up the context for this webinar, what we'll be covering through in today's session. So we have added few features which have been asked for from our customers, and there are certain features which we thought would definitely improve the experience of our front-end application, which is what we call as Ahead. So in the past, we have added certain features, which includes the magazine support altogether and the shipping address to enable print subscription. Then we have started on testing out new header designs, brought in as new header altogether. Then to bring in some diversity to the actual front end itself, we have gone ahead and doubled the actual number of layouts available for on PageBuilder. Then to connect more with front end users, we have brought in the concept of custom labels and demarcation. Then again, customization around Paywall messages, and we started supporting Adyen Payment Gateway. And towards the end of the session, we will do a Q&A. So if you happen to have any questions while we are doing the demo, please take a note of that, and we can go through those at the end of the session. Right. Quickly, before I get into magazine supports, for those who doesn't really know what Ahead PageBuilder is, so I'll be referring to two different names here, Ahead and PageBuilder. Ahead is the actual website, which will be visible for the end users, and PageBuilder is the engine, the templating engine, which Jeevan was referring to, where you set up the actual website. Before me getting into the magazine support, let me show you how it will look different. So I'm picking up one demo instance here. So this is one of our demo instances. So this is what we call as Ahead, or the actual front end itself. Now this is being configured via the templating engine, what we call as PageBuilder. So through the demo, I'll be switching between Ahead as well as PageBuilder and PageBuilder. So let me just log into one of the corresponding PageBuilder instance here. Yep. I've signed up. So if you look closely, the URLs are quite different here. So it says aswin.matrix. This is our internal URL, which is a demo instance. And this is the corresponding PageBuilder instance. So if you look at the URLs, aswin.pagebuilder.quintype.com. So whatever you actually see on the website is being configured. The elements, the colors, the templates, all of what you see on Ahead is coming from PageBuilder, and this is the portal where you actually make changes. So I'll be switching between these two screens, as I said. So quickly getting to magazine support. So when we started off, we had the front end where people can actually start publishing stories, and then we brought in the concept of subscription. Then we realized that there are still a set of publishers who would like to see bring their print subscription or print magazine online. So there's a shift in actual how the people are consuming the content itself. It's not necessarily that the new age folks are consuming the data from print magazine itself, so they have started consuming it from online, and that trend is been there for last few years. But in the couple of years, since the day of once the pandemic kicked in, people are more used to the digital side of it. So we brought in the concept of magazine itself altogether onto Ahead Page Builder now, which means you can actually power a magazine entirely with the basic concept of all the print subscription on Page Builder Ahead. For that, we have primarily built 3 different pages. So it starts off with the magazine landing page, which is the one page where you will show the latest issue of a magazine and the rest of the information around the magazine. Then you have a magazine issue page. So if it's a monthly magazine, there is an issue in each month, and we have architecture in such a way that each of this issue is a collection in our bold CMS. And then you have the magazine archive page. So there are certain magazines which has a lot of historical data starting from 2000s or earlier, even before that. So people can actually go back to the older issues and start reading those. So we started off with these 3 landing pages. And along with that, we have until now, we on the front end, we had an option to actually subscribe to the digital content alone. So we thought of bringing in the print subscription as well. So you can actually, the end users can actually make purchases on the front end itself, on Ahead front end itself. And we are collecting the physical address of the subscriber, and so that the publisher can send off the physical magazines to those users. And to push the users to start using more of this magazine pages and let them get familiar with the new pages. We have brought in a new row itself, which you can add onto the landing pages. It can go into any section page, or it can go into any of our home pages as well. So I'll quickly go through these very same pages on Page Builder and Ahead. So, so I have added one magazine here on my Ahead instance here. I'm landing on one of my instance here, and you can see this is the landing page of a magazine, which in turn means this is where you can share the basic details about what this magazine is all about, and you can feature the latest issue of this magazine here. So we have created this basic elements here where you can actually give a title to the magazine itself, a description for the magazine, and we have a subscription button. So if at all somebody is already familiar with the magazine, if they want to go directly to the subscription page, they can do it from here. And right below that, we have created a component where we are actually featuring the latest magazine of the choice of available ones. And here also we have given a button to actually let the user to land on the corresponding issue pages. Then we have listed on all the previous issues of the very same magazine here. And there is a view all button, which is kept at the very end of the page, which will take the user to actually land on the magazine archive page. So this is the magazine landing page, just featuring one particular issue, and there's 4 stories of that particular issue being featured here. Now, if you want to see what are the stories which is covered within each of the issue, you need to actually go to the issue page itself. So this is the second page. This is the magazine issue page where we are actually featuring that one issue here. So again, this is the corresponding collection description. This is different from the description that we have seen on the previous page. The description of the previous page is connected with what the Ahead Times magazine is all about. In this particular instance, this is all about what this particular issue is all about. Again, we have given the date of publishing this magazine and the subscribe button along with the introductory part of this particular landing page. Then we have featured the very top 7 stories from that particular collection here, which we call as top articles. Then you have following it, we have the older issues. So this is to again improve the recirculation of how the user actually start moving from one page to another. We have included this other issues as well here. And then following that, we have all of the stories. So a magazine may have 20 stories, 30 stories. All of those 30 stories can be listed out in this one single page. And yeah, so let me go to one issue page. So let me just go back to my magazine page. And I'm now going to my archive page. So if you look at this, in archive page, we are not showcasing any particular story as such. Here we are giving more emphasis to the actual issues itself. So if somebody wants to look at a really old magazine, they can come in here and filter through the year and even filter through the months and see those magazines. So certain magazines may be a weekly magazine, certain may be monthly magazine. So there are cases where there are a large number of issues for a single magazine. So this makes the end user's life a bit easier to figure out the magazine which they would like to read. Now, these are the 3 different pages on the front end. You have exactly these 3 options available on magazine in PageBuilder. So this is me on PageBuilder account right now. Once you click on the primary drop down under page, you have an option called magazine, and under magazine you have these 3 different options: landing, issue, and archive. Like any other components that you have on PageBuilder, there is a certain level of flexibility available for each of these components. I'll quickly go through one of them here. So if you go to the settings of this particular component, so this is where the one issue of a magazine is featured. You can come in here, you can decide to show author name, you can decide to show the time to read, or if you want, you can even remove these particular data from the listing itself. Then if you are moving to the styling settings, you can actually set the background of this particular row to be, and this can be chosen from the palette what you have set previously. And also there is certain button settings. So if you want, you can even change the text of this particular issue to go to issue or view issue. So you can make these changes and it will start reflecting on a head front end. Similarly, you can actually make changes to each and every single component which is within these 3 different pages. So that was the landing page. Now this is the issue page. Within issue page also, you have certain set of functionality available. You can go about and make changes on these components which is being used on that particular issue page. So this is all about the flexibility available within the magazine functionality. Today as of now, you can technically hold n number of magazines within the very same website, and you can have a subscription model set up on the website as well. So if I am to look into the subscription page here, I can list down the different options that I have today. Is that I can actually sell digital alone content, I can sell print alone content, and I can sell digital plus print content here. So today I've turned it on these as print magazine. So let's say if this is print plus digital or print alone magazine, I can actually start collecting the address of this particular user when they are actually about to subscribe. That's possible today. So whenever somebody clicks on the subscribe button, if at all this user had an address filled earlier, we'll populate those. If they want to make any changes, they can do that. If it's a brand new user, all of these fields will be empty and he can fill in the corresponding information, hit continue button, and we will take him directly to the payment gateway. This is a test account. We'll take him directly to the payment gateway. Once the payment is successful, the shipping address will be captured in the access type database. In a nutshell, you can pretty much host magazines on the website. You can sell digital alone content, or you can even sell digital plus print subscription. So this is all I had around the magazine feature as such. I'll quickly go to the next item, which is a new header. As Jeevan has mentioned, this is a template-based system where we had around 9 different headers, 4 normal layouts and 5 single-line headers, and then we had similarly 3 different footers and 11 different components, or what we call as rows, in PageBuilder to set up a landing page. Let's say if you're on a home page, when you're setting up a home page, you have these different options that you can choose from, and on the header. So we figured out that there are certain drawbacks with the existing headers, and we thought there is areas of improvement. We have been taking feedback from customers. We have been doing a bit of research on what to improve and so on. And finally, we have come up with one new header. So this is the very first set of the new set of headers that will be hitting prod soon. This one particular header, which we call as header 5, is now available on production. Any existing customer can make use of this. What we have changed in this particular header, I'll just call out those. So we are now supporting bigger logo. Earlier, the logos are supposed to be regardless how big the logo you have as a publisher. When it goes to the website, the maximum height it can take was around like 60 pixels. What you've done is we have gone ahead and increased it around by now it's almost doubled by 110 pixels, which means you can have substantially bigger logos. The second thing that we have introduced is something we call as mega menu. So certain publishers have a lot of menu items that they would like to place, but they don't want to actually place it on the menu, primary menu, which will make it a bit difficult to maintain. And in certain cases, when you put so many menu items in the footer, people tend to not land on the footer menu itself in the first place. So we thought about bringing in mega menu, which lies within the header itself, but which can hold a large number of menu items. Then we brought in the concept of date and time element within the header itself. Then we have made a slight change to how the search is working in terms of the UI. And we have added a small indicator on the drop-down items when there is an extra line of items. So I'll just quickly go through these items altogether. So I'll just show you the different header options that we have today. So until today, we had this header 1 to 4 different options. This is the brand new one which I've added, which is called as header 5. And then we have this rest of the 5 different headers. What's different about header 5 is it can actually take in a, so this is the typical size of a logo that header can take in. If you go into the setting of this particular header, let me just log in here, logo. So you can see here that I have 2 different size of logos here. This is a fairly large logo that I have placed here, and this is the maximum size it can take in. So it pretty much solves the problem of certain publishers. Certain publishers do have their logo in vertical alignment rather than in horizontal alignment. So in such cases, having very little height was actually a problem. So we solved that by increasing the height by around 50%, 70%. And also the rest of the components arranges automatically with regards to the actual logo being uploaded. If you're uploading a smaller size logo, the menu items shifts itself to adapt to the size of the logo being placed here. So this is the primary change. And I'll just quickly go to the front end itself, ahead here itself. This is a small logo that's being added. This is the date and time element that we have added to the header, secondary menu and number of items. And this is the mega menu that I was referring to. So there is no limit to as such the number of elements that can go into a mega menu. As you can see here, there is around 7 primary items and each of them having around 3 sub items. So that itself is around 21 items. So I guess it can hold up to around 50 items without an issue. So this comes in handy for publishers who have a lot of menu items or to be listed out there. Now, with regards to the search change, so earlier in our instances, the search used to come on top of the actual logo itself. So whenever I click on the search icon, the search input field kicks in and it comes and covers the actual logo itself, which was not a great experience. So we thought about changing the UI, and in the new header, we have shifted towards the bottom, and this is where the search happens. So yeah, these are the changes that happen on the when you're looking at on the desktop side. When it goes mobile, we have made it a bit more simpler, as in a bit more lighter. This particular component is, and we have gone ahead and we have moved the search itself to the burger menu rather than keeping it in the header itself and making it a bit more difficult to manage. We have gone ahead and changed it to be placed within the burger menu itself. Also, I'll just quickly open up our existing header. The header, the primary menu items used to have a horizontal scroll within it. There were chances where the actual header, the titles was getting truncated, and there was a horizontal scroll which the users can actually use to actually land on these items. We have gone ahead and removed these options. I mean, improved this option in such a fashion that we will not have a horizontal scroll. Instead, the rest of the items will automatically go into the burger menu. And also the drop-downs are taken care of in a much nicer fashion. Also, we have added an icon next to the menu items which have a drop-down to it. So there are certain menu items which may have a submenu, and there are certain items which do not have a submenu. So the people have to, the end user have to actually click on or hover through each of the items to figure out if there is a drop-down or not. So to solve that, we have brought in this small visual cue, which will tell the user that there is more to this. There is a submenu right below this. Please over and go explore those items as well. Yeah, so these are the changes that we have made on this header. This is the new set of header. We are planning to come up with a couple of more headers, one with the logo on the center and a very light header that will work extremely efficient on mobile devices. That will come in once we have validated the existing headers and how it is performing and taking the feedback of our existing customers and prospects. So yeah, this is it with regards to the actual header itself. I had one more item, which is the new row layouts. So until now, on PageBuilder, as you can see, we had around like 9 different headers and 11 new different row templates. Row templates is nothing but the different templates that you can assign to each of the row. Each row is in each section of the website. So in this case, a news is a section or a row, and business is another section or row, right? So what this means, we had around like 11 items, which means every single publisher coming on board to Quintype have to make use of this 11 different components in different combinations, as in like, it's not like you somebody may choose to have this component on the top, some may choose a different component, but still the limitation was around that you have only 11 components to play around to set up your homepage or any other landing pages. So as our number of customers have grown up, we want to give more flexibility and we have to give more design uniqueness to the custom publishers. We have gone ahead and added 10 more new different components on PageBuilder. Actually, we are building one more, which is on the way, which will be hitting in the next few days. Right now we have around 21 new rows, of which all 20, the new ones which was added in the last branch, around 10 of them, all of them are actually optimized. So optimized as in, if you click on this toggle, you will see only those components which have an AMP icon, which means all of these components are performing. So whenever, what we recommend to our publishers is that whenever you're setting up a home page or a section page or any landing pages, please make use of these light performant components, which means you can get the best out of the performance. I mean, you can technically create a really performant landing pages. In certain cases, certain publishers still want sliders and a bit heavy UI heavy components on the homepage. We are retaining those as well. So here, if you look at this half screen slider or arrow collection filter, these are not non-light rows, hence they doesn't have an AMP icon here. We are retaining those as well. Moving down the road, we will be continuing to explore what are the different other layouts that we can probably bring into the front end to give more flexibility in terms of design and how each website can look different from one another. So today you have 21 different components, which means you have a lot of permutations and combinations by which you can actually set up landing pages. And once the components are chosen, you can again further go in and actually make changes to the layouts itself. Like I've shown to you, each component have a set of flexibilities around available. So you can change the background and you can make a lot of other changes. Also, we have gone ahead and increased the actual number of ad placements available on this new components as well. So if you click on the layout changes, the new different layouts, you can see that some of them do have an ad mentioned within the preview itself. Let's say if I'm choosing this particular component, I can go in and actually replace this one slot with a new ad. How that is possible? All you have to do is go to the gear icon, click on the slot settings. Here you have 3 different options: story, ad, and widget. So all you have to do is choose ad, choose the type of ad you want, and if you want to add a custom targeting ID, you can do that also. Above header, below header, or first row, or you can even name it as sports or whatever you want, whatever this particular component is powering. And if you want, if you want to add a custom widget of your own, you can do that as well. So here is an input area where you can pass the code that will power the custom widget. So with this 21 components and the flexibilities around this, we hope publishers can have build the websites or set up their landing pages a bit unique from one another. So that's taken care of, and we are planning to build more of this in future. I'll quickly call out a couple of components. So this one particular landing page, whatever you're seeing right now is actually brand new components. All of these are new components. We did a bit of research and we figured out that there are certain components which can actually stand out a little bit from what we have today, and which can actually catch the eye or give better experience to the end users. So one of them was the magazine feature. So this particular component is built for magazine alone. And then you have this component which can actually take in a large number of stories within one fold. So this one actually can ideally take up to around 12 stories in one shot. If you are to remove the time to read and publisher name, again, it can take more stories to it. And we have this brought in this 2-column new layout. Also, one important other row that we have added is something called we call as opinion row. So there are stories where the author is actually, it makes sense to promote the author more than the actual stories, because the author will have some significance in the real world and you would like to showcase them instead of the actual story images and promote the opinion story. So this can be a piece or a story which is written by a pretty famous guy who might be working with the publisher or who can be freelancing with the publisher. They can write a piece of some story and post it on this website. And you can actually feature the author itself in the website landing pages. So if you look at this, instead of giving the title the priority, we are giving the author name the priority and then the title of what the story is all about. And we are not showcasing the actual image of the story. Instead, we are showing the image of the author. So it's not necessary that it is one person who is writing all the opinion, right? So a publisher will have a number of folks who is writing the opinion stories. So this images also make sense and it communicates and people tend to connect more with the actual authors, and it gives an incentive for them to actually go into that story and read what the story is all about and understand what the author is trying to communicate here. Following down, we have this 6-column component. Again, this is a more composed component which is added, which is built to bring in more compressed content, which means you can have large number of stories in a small area. Then we thought about bringing this 3-column layout, where let's say if you have a collection called sports, and under sports you have cricket, football, and hockey. You can have separate 3 of them into 3 different columns and have all of them populated. Or let's say if it's in a COVID situation, if you want to cover national, international, and a particular state, you can separate them and have them in this particular layout, which will give more, which means the front end is communicating better to the end user, and you are segregating the content for them in the way which they would like to consume. So I'm listing down the names of this particular components here. All of these components are now available on PageBuilder right now on production. You can log in. If you don't have a demo account, please connect with our marketing team. They can specify a new account for you, and you can explore all of these options in PageBuilder. It's all straightforward. It's all drag and drop. Yeah, you can explore this from these options available on PageBuilder. Yeah, so that brings to the end of what I had to showcase. So the next one is custom labels and paywall messages. I'll hand over the call to Jeevan to take this forward. Jeevan?
Good. Thanks, Aswin. Let me just take this time to present.
Sure.
Right. So to start off, we were looking at how to connect to our end users who are users of the website per se, that is running on Ahead and others as well. So how to have an engagement that could really get those users to stay on site and basically bring in more monetization in any way that we would look forward to, right? One of the ways which we discovered through market research or any analysis that we did through our client sites and our competitors was, if there is a site which belongs to a particular language per se, and they would want all of the site to reflect a particular language, because most of the publishers' clients who are the common users would be tied to a language, and the site sort of communicates pretty well with them. So that bonding is something we wanted to cater to, right? So when we brought in localization, we were looking through the minute aspects of our site where we could optimize, saying that, okay, if this was in say X language or Y language, it would be better, which could communicate better, right? So having said that, we brought in a couple of things. One was, we had, let's say there was a paywall message which would come in a site, right? I'm not going in order, but I will come there eventually. So let's say there is a message which comes in. If instead of saying buy this particular plan or this particular magazine or a particular story that you want for X rupees, instead you want it to say the same thing in your language, right? It would be pretty well to convince the end user to buy it. So that is what we brought in with our custom paywall messages. So whilst we were building this, we also wanted to have even more customizations, right? Let's say, since we have integrations with access type and the price currency or the amount of which is depicted by that particular product. So we wanted to have it dynamically. Let's say, buy this subscription at X rupees, right? You can say that in your own words or put it in a vernacular or a localized language. I'll go through PageBuilder where I can show this, right? So after we did this, we wanted to, so now we could cater into showing that, okay, buy this subscription, which could increase the revenue of our publisher. So we wanted to have a distinction between an article which you want to be premium and what you want for your other users to engage who are not premium, right? Premium are here who brought the subscription and the others who have not, right? With that distinction, we wanted to add a visible connect sort of, which says, okay, this story or an article is paid, right? Instead of going the other way where the person actually visits that story and is disappointed by, well, I couldn't read it anymore, than saying, okay, if you want to visit the story, there is a subscription you would want to take, because that is sort of normalized across the site. And we sort of push the users to monetize the particular site, right? So let me go to PageBuilder. So in this case, let me just refresh it. I'll walk through each of those points. All right. So if we look at it and we go into the general settings of the site and we go into, let's say, let's go into styling and we look at this. So if you had observed before when Aswin was demoing all our different rows that we have brought in or magazines, so you could realize there is an icon here which depicts that this particular article or let's call it an entity here is premium. So we gave a pretty much choice between 4 icons and a choice of color with the palette that you've chosen, right? So this is the one I like the most anyway. So this sort of depicts or conveys to the user that this article is premium and you would want to go towards having a subscription, and this sort of caters to the publisher's wish of having that on the main screen. It is a breaking story that he or she wants that story to be read, right? So that was one of the things that we bought. And talking about monetizations, so we come here. There is one particular thing which I want your attention on. So we were looking at shipping address earlier, which Ashwin demoed, right? So if we go down the same thing, we would find paywall messages. Yes, here it is. So this was one thing where we pretty much concentrated on how to get this going and what we wanted to say when we say that, right? So while I was doing the slide, I was conveying something about dynamic things. So let's say this is a publisher title which comes in. And so you can read the example here. We are glad that you're enjoying, and the publisher's title, which is dynamically coming there. And whatever you type would be here, ABC, then the publisher title per se like this. So it would reflect on your paywall saying that ABC and the publisher title, which you would have already configured, right? So that is something we were talking about. Let me go back. Yeah. So I'll get back to, if you have any questions, just post it there. We'll get back to answering it later, right? So whilst we were talking about monetization, we were looking at demographics where we could cater more, where there were payment integrations that we could enable our product to integrate with, such that we can provide more monetizations or different channels for it, right? So that is when Adyen sort of, we figured out Adyen was there and we could utilize that, right? One of the main prospects was we wanted to cater to the European nations, the continent of Europe, and the others which are listed here, right? So we sort of integrated this with our access type, and it would give back the plans. It would perform a smooth flow where the money would just flow in. And this was one of the ways that we sort of ventured into. Right. So these are the two things that I had. Aswin, anything you want to add on this?
No, nothing, but nothing, Jeevan. So I guess we can just probably show the other options as well in Paywall. So we have different Paywall messages in PageBuilder. So there is a one for subscription, there is one for group subscription, there is a different one for metered Paywall, and so on. You have this flexibility of changing or having different text or custom text that you can actually place for each of these different type of paywalls. Choose Paywall. Yeah, so if you look here, so you have this different options here, and you can certain of these options like the subscription or payment success will not have a short code that we call as a variable that you can place within the text, and then there are certain which can have multiple short codes as well. So you can technically pass this in English, or if you're a vernacular publisher, you can actually pass this text in your own language of choice, and you can just pass the values. So primarily the publisher name, the price of a particular magazine, price of a particular plan, and the currency which is in. So all of this is actually stored in access type, which is the subscription management module. So you can come in here and configure all of those. So the level of flexibility that you have here is that you can actually go and make changes for each of this different type of paywall messaging screens that we have in place.
Right.
And also you can, and you can just explore the when you log into PageBuilder, you can explore the other options as well in customized text, which will pretty much cover all the other elements which is available on ahead PageBuilder. You can convert all of those to the language of your choice, or if you would like to have an alternate text to something, you can use those as well. That's possible.
So that is pretty much what I had for this particular webinar. We'll open up for questions. Do let us know if you have any.
Yes, Jeevan, I guess we have a couple of questions lying around. So Sunil passed mega menu support on mobile device. Sunil, the experience what we have set here is that on desktop is where it is expected the mega menu to work. On mobile menu, what we have decided is we will just have a burger menu being placed, and within the burger menu you can place the different menu items. So if you have seen might have seen this on the header, you have these 3 different menu groups today. One is the primary menu, then you have the secondary menu that comes on the left hand side top, and then you have the burger menu. And when it comes to mobile, the simplest of explanation is that there is not enough space to have all of them all together. Like you cannot have 3 different menu available on mobile. There is no real estate for it. So what we've decided is on mobile itself, we'll not be considering any of these 3 different menu groups that you create on board. Instead, there is a different menu group called burger menu, in which you can have all the menu items. So when you go mobile, again, the publisher have the flexibility of deciding what are the menu items that I would like to showcase on desktop, and what are those items that I want to show on mobile. If they want, they can keep exactly the same items on all 3 into burger menu, or if they want to use a different set of menu items, that's possible, which is done deliberately. So in a nutshell, if you want to have the same menu items in mega menu, you have to have it as add it as a item in burger menu in mobile. Second question, if it is subsequent load enabled, after how many stories ad will be repeated? I'll need to check on that one particular question, so I'll get back to you. It changes. What I reckon is that it changes from one component to another component, because the subsequent you are actually replacing certain number of stories within a row to be placed by an ad. So that when the entire component itself is being replaced, I need to check how that algorithm works. I can come back to you on that one. Srinivas Hariharan, Is the localization for PageBuilder messages predefined or can be dynamically set based on user browsing language? So Srinivas, today, every single, in Quintype and a website completely is in one language. So there is no way you can actually convert, have a single website being delivered to different users in different language. What they will ideally use right now is the Google Translate extension or plugin that is available within within Chrome or any other browser. That is possible. The front end is today not looking at the region or place from where the user is landing, and we are not converting into the language of their choice. But this is very much possible through the Google Translate option available on browser itself. This question from Ravi. Some of the new layouts are not working. Ravi, feel free to mention those items. We are happy to help and fix those. I guess there are certain small bugs which we still need to iron out on the new components. We'll be definitely taking care of those soon. I guess we have a bit more time left on our clock. If you have any further questions, happy to help.
Sure, Ravi, we'll look at it.
Right. And I'll be definitely connecting with our all of our existing customers to validate the new headers and the new components. I'll schedule an individual call with most of you folks, and we'll validate these headers. As I said, we have plans of building a couple of more new headers. But before we do that, before we spend effort for that, I wanted to run it through you guys and take your feedback and see, is there anything else that I could have taken care of in the existing new components or in the new headers? And then we'll go about build a couple of more different variations of the generation to header for you. And for the other components as well, if you happen to have any feedback, I can collect it from you and take care of them.
Aswin, I guess there is one more question.
Yes. Hello. How can I log into PageBuilder? So Sunil, to log into PageBuilder for every single head, if you don't have an account, you can definitely just reach out to our marketing folks or sales folks, or you can even sign up for it on our quintype.com website. There you'll get an instance of Bold and Ahead to log in. Then I can enable a PageBuilder account for you, and you can log in there. So easiest way is to just connect with our marketing team or use the link available on quintype.com.
If there anything else that you guys would like to be answered, just shoot out us a mail or reach us somewhere through support. We'll always be there. Yeah.
I guess if there are no further questions, we can probably wrap this session. Yeah, like Jeevan mentioned, if you have any further questions, please do explore these new options available on PageBuilder. If you land on any issues, or if you feel that there is a feedback that you would like to share with us, please do reach out to us on support@quintype.com. We are happy to help.
Thank you for your time.